very closely and to some of the clubs that were quite very interested in acquiring the services of this very young lad, a very energetic player in the names of Mabe Godwin. There were a couple of teams that were interested in his signature. The teams included, just like I had said, the Black Angels. Kuluva Rainbow was as well in this race of acquiring the signature of Mabe Godwin, and then Arua City were literally also in the same race to see that they get the services over this same guy. But now, Wiso Time Desk can reliably confirm to you that Mabe is now a Koboko rising star player in there. Quite very, very interesting. And then also, somehow Uganda police gets the services of Dennis Iguma. They announced on, of course, their official social media handles, the different handles, and they say that we are thrilled to officially announce the signing of versatile defender Dennis Iguma on a 2-year contract. Iguma, capable of excelling at the center back, right back, and holding midfield, joins us from there is a KCCA a football club, meaning last season we did see Iguma playing, of course, with playing with the KCCA or playing at KCCA. But then when you look at KCCA, KCCA is also one club that has released a lot of players. Yeah, KCCA is one club that has released a very long list of players, simply because they're also one side that were very active during the transfer windows while they were open, and they also got in the services of quite a number of very good and versatile, highly experienced players onto their squad in there. And one of the victims that got released from there is a KCCA include Dennis Iguma. But then police did say that whereas the other side is releasing Iguma for us, we think we still need the services over this very young lad. So they chased after his signatures and got him put pen to paper. For there is a 2-year contract. His impressive regime boasts there is a stints at Soccer Club Villa, Soccer Club Victoria, Al Ahid Football Club in Lebanon, Al Nabchet Lebanon, and Kazma Football Club in Kuwait. Dennis brings in valuable expertise to our squad, solidifying our defense until 2024. Now, if you look at very closely the regime of all the previouses of this very guy I'm talking about, there is Dennis Iguma, who has crossed from KCCA to police. Check out his background, but do a background check for Dennis Iguma. You will reliably be informed, or you will agree with me, that Iguma is one guy who has traversed, I should say, the world. He is highly experienced. Because if you look at football in Uganda, it is quite very, very different from a football outside Uganda, yeah? So acquiring the services of Iguma to me would be something very nice, because look at the clubs he has played for formerly. He did play for Soccer Club Villa, who are currently the reigning champions. That they did win the UPL champion for last season. That was a season 2023-2024 in there. Dennis Iguma, who now plays for police, did play with Soccer Club Villa. He also did play for Soccer Club Victoria. He did not stop there. He literally also crossed out to experience the difference of football in outside Uganda, where he did feature in for a couple of clubs out there, such as El Ahid Football Club that is in Lebanon, Al Nabchet Football Club that is also in Lebanon, and Kazma Football Club in Kuwait. So basically, I think KCCA has lost a very good player, very versatile, but I'm quite sure KCCA has also gotten there is a very good replacement for him, because they could not release this very player if definitely they had not, of course, gotten a very good replacement for him. So basically, that is what people do, or that is what clubs do in there. They get to release players when they know that they are going to get perfect replacements for these very players that actually they are releasing in there. And then also Uganda Premier League, of course, gets to return. Yeah, Uganda Premier League gets to return for there is a match day 2, season 2024-2025. Remember, in match day 1, there were a couple of games that were played. Chitara did play NEC, UPDF did play Lugazi, Vipers played Express, Bright Stars played these are games that are going to be played in their round 2. Round 1, of course, did go down. That was last weekend. We did see a couple of games going down. We did see a couple of shocking results coming through. We did see a couple of brilliant goals and assists coming through. Express played very nicely, and son of Biebekul did assist in for a goal that his team registered in there. And then quite interesting, a new entrants are making names. Others did lose their game in there. I'm talking about Mbale Heroes. But then the rest of the teams did get themselves very clear 3 points. And then in match day 2, as match day 2 returns, games of course will be going down starting today, 19th. Starting today, yes, we shall be seeing Chitara playing NEC Football Club. This is going to be a completion of part of the game of round 1. This very game was pushed ahead, it was postponed. And then round 2 will see UPDF taking on Lugazi, and then Vipers will be taking on Express Football Club, and then Bright Stars will be taking on URA. And of course, if you look at the URA in their opening game, they did lose down to there is a KCCA. That was an opener for there is a Uganda Premier League season 2023-2024 in there. Shall we be seeing the URA, of course, regaining in their lost glory that they did lose out to KCCA on a match day 1 of UPL season 2024-2025? I don't know. That, of course, will be ascertained at the 90 minutes of gameplay between there is URA and Bright Stars, and this game will be tomorrow, 20th. And then tomorrow, Bull Football Club will also take on KCCA. A very tough one in here. Because KCCA did have an opener for there is UPL this very season, and we did see them play and go against the URA with only 1 goal. That did see them collect all the 3 points. And this time around, will they collect all the 3 points as such? I don't know, because they will be going head on head with a very tough side. There is a Bull Football Club. And then the Luzira best side, we're talking about Maroons will be taking on our Chisu Giants. And then Mbarara City that lost will be taking on there is Soccer Club Villa, the reigning champions. Are we going to see Mbarara that recently did collect 3 points, getting maximum points out of Villa? We don't know, because we also did see Villa winning their game in there. So probably they will want to continue with their winning sprees and adding on to the 3 points that they already did get in the first round. And then we shall also be seeing NEC Football Club taking on one of the forces. There is UPDF in there. Quite very impressive and interesting fixtures. I don't know what your some of your predictions will be like ahead of the fixtures that I have just given you. To me, these are very tough fixtures, by the way. If you look at all these fixtures, I don't know if we should do them one more time. UPDF will be taking on Lugazi, Vipers Express, Bright Stars takes on URA, Bull takes on KCCA, Maroons takes on Wachiso Giants, Mbarara City takes on Police Football Club, Mbale Heroes will be taking on Soccer Club Villa, NEC Football Club will be taking on UPDF. What are some of your anticipations ahead of this very game? Which teams do you think will go past the other? Because if you looked at round 1, you would basically be able to bear with me is that there are quite a couple of teams that did lose out. But these are teams that we did not expect them to lose out. Vipers was beaten. Did you expect that? Me as Susie, no. I did not expect Vipers to be beaten just like that, yeah? And then we also did see Police playing in there, quite very impressive. Lugazi also tried out the best. But then another new entrant, there is Mbale Heroes was beaten, and this time around they will be looking into, of course, they will be looking into still gaining back the trust of their fans that have been with them throughout a big league season that did see them push through to there is a UPL in there. So we shall be seeing quite a very brilliant weekend with actions fully packed in there. And then also another interesting story is that a FIFA Appeals Committee orders Ajo to pay more money to Villa, and the player is suspended for 5 matches there because this player was of course unveiled by 2 clubs, and this is something that of course we have been following very closely. The story was yet raw. We didn't want to jump into this very story. That's not what we saw Time Desk does of West Nile TV. We wait, we do follow up. Our ears, of course, are kept underground, and we make sure we get for you, our viewer, very authentic and solid, very concrete information. When it is still raw, we don't jump into that. That is one story that we don't bring in here. So the FIFA Appeals Committee has fined Emmanuel Ajo more money and also suspended the player for 5 matches after he pays the fine. Initially, Ajo, who signed for both a soccer club Villa and later NEC in the transfer window, was awarded to the latter, with the player told to refund 8 million sign-on fees he got from there is the Jogos, and also pay a fine of 7 million for there is a breach of contract. Now, to you viewer out there, do you think the FIFA Appeals Committee is being lenient to these players? Is it being just to the players? For me, Susie, I think, yeah, they're being just and very fair in these rulings. Because if you look at most of the players that now we have in Uganda, you'd find a player collecting sign-on fee from more than 3 or 4 clubs. We did see that Leah, by the way, locally here, Alpha Rising Stars, there is Leah, did suffer a lot, a lot last season. As the transfer windows were coming to a close-up, they, of course, wanted to acquire in very highly experienced players to their club. They did reach out to some of these players who came through and signed and even collected sign-on fees. But throughout there is the season, this is a player that, you know, yes, that we knew that had signed for these. Some players had signed for Leah, but throughout the season, we did not even see them feature in one game like this for Alpha Rising Stars. There is Leah. So basically, I think from this, where the FIFA Appeals Committee has done to Ajo, I think this is quite going to be very well. You refund the 8 million sign-on fee that you took, and then you pay another 7 million for breach of contract. Yeah, I think this for me will sign, will of course send an alarm to the players who like you come here, you pick sign-on fee, you go to the other club, you pick sign-on fee, you go to another club, you pick sign-on fee. I mean, you're collecting all these monies. So for me, I think this is quite a very good one, and I have given you a background of how FIFA reached these monies. Yeah, for those that missed, Ajo signed for both soccer club Villa, and later he signed for NEC. And remember, when he signed for soccer club Villa, they did unveil him. Yeah, within that time period, NEC also signed him and also unveiled him. So there was confusion. I mean, the two did not fight each other. For me, how they treated that matter was very brilliant. Yeah, they did not fight each other. Instead, they went to FIFA to seek for guidance and help. And now FIFA sits down and says he should refund the 8 million sign-on fee that he picked from soccer club Villa, and also pay an additional 7 million for a breach of a contract. However, Villa appealed the decision and wanted the player to instead pay Ugandan shillings 50 million or honor the original contract he signed with the club. In reply, the appeals committee has not awarded Villa their full wish, but asked Ajo to pay 9.8 million, and the player is also suspended for 5 matches. The FIFA Appeals Committee has decided to communicate only the following summary terms of the decision. 1. The FIFA Appeals Committee received an appeal from Soccer Club Villa arising from FIFA challenging the findings of the FIFA DRC and praying that the Appeals Committee orders the player to perform the Villa contract, or in the alternative be paid 50 million in damages. 2. The appeal was served on the respondent player Emmanuel Ajo to provide a response, which he did. The parties were invited and appeared for a hearing before a FIFA in front of a committee at FIFA Mengo, and were allowed to present their case, submit the arguments, and answer the questions by the committee. 3. Upon critical evaluation of the case file, the appeals committee noted that the act of player signing contract with one club and then abandoning it and signing another one with another club, offering a high amount, is reprehensible behavior that cannot be allowed. Something I talked about. Menzo club de vumi sendedu, menzo azila vumi sendedu, menzo azila vumi sendedu. Tena sign on fee ni. Sign on fee. Ika de belen sende ni diduo, ika de sign club ndeda nibo. Why don't you sit down? Iri ni vadi yere aviso players, I mean aviso club di bekwa diosi. Medio lo re sign on fee tra kilemi tuti trale. Hi vadi. Money reni ata letembare abafe azomo sende 50 million nai for breach of contract and not honoring where he picked monies from. But on recent honestly. So people should be able to honor and respect every contract where they pick a sign-on fee from. Furthermore, the appeals committee noted that as a result of his failure to perform the contract, Soccer Club Villa was deprived of the players' services. On account of the above considerations, the committee decided to adjust the compensation awarded to Soccer Club Villa there is Ugandan shillings at 25 million, inclusive of the refund of the sign-on fee, and decided that a sporting sanction of a 5-match suspension be imposed on the player. Having already paid 15.2, the player shall pay the balance over 9.813. There is a Soccer Club Villa. On ground of the above, the appeal filed by Soccer Club Villa is partially allowed, and consequently, the appeals committee rules that the player is ordered to pay Villa an additional 9.8. The player is ineligible to play until the above amount is fully paid to a zero balance. The player, Emmanuel Ajo, upon being eligible to play after payment of the amount above, shall be suspended for 5 official matches. Katron sende de ofe ka mpire misi mudribo de siringa sende de nda kate di yele go ervininga fufa ma ayota seria mupira zikite towidika. Now you see how you kill your career, tamasi. Melu reompo wa da do galrele sende misudo wedubo erni de ako engabo puru minzumuda. You see some of these things. I know a lot of people out there are going to say that maybe Fufa yonzi, Fufa is biased, but for me, this is very good. A lot of clubs have been suffering, by the way, in the hands of players. Sign-on fee, dalo, sign-on fee, sign-on fee, dalo, sign-on fee. Besu di abo badu babanga abo puru ariale, besu azinda abo badu babanga abo puru. So honestly, this for me is not right. All other players for relief are dismissed. The decision of the appeals committee is final. So, a lot of monies are to be paid. Irani bi prayers azil pima bise ikabani bionga reale di ami sign on fidu imbo yasbo inzo la wa midu bo imbo bolale. Fufa appeals committee is coming for you. Players should, by the way, learn. Yeah, they should learn, because honestly, I didn't know. Send the keep attend the waswa. You can say the duangwazabo iriva. Me aviva la keep maybe for some short time. And then you can go somewhere else. You can go somewhere else and play with the other people that really you want to play with. Somehow, Africa Badminton Challenge Edition has been launched, and quite a very impressive one. Royals Park, Butema, another football fortress in Uganda. Can Chitara transform it into a dreaded ground? Chitara is trying so hard to see that, by the way, they build in their ground in there. And simply because if you look at their being of course Uganda Cup winners, they're supposed to take part in CAF, and their grounds were not licensed. They tried to acquire the services of National Mandela Stadium, but it also failed. So we did see them in their first round of the games where they played Al Hilal Benghazi. They did travel to Libya to play. As they were hosting, they hosted Al Hilal Benghazi in Libya at home. And then the return fixture also did see them remain in Libya and play the same team. But for me, I have a feeling if Chitara had hosted Al Hilal Benghazi in Uganda, trust me, first of all, Chitara has that very huge fan base. Chitara would have beaten those guys, much as we did see Muhammad Shaban score even. Yeah, he scored, yes, it was a very brilliant goal. But then we also did see Omedi come in very handy, neck to neck, trying to see that they equalize some of those goals and all that. They tried their best, by the way. So to me, if they had a ground that was very good, that would be fully licensed and agreed to host games, continental games here, to me, Chitara would have beaten the result Hilal Benghazi. Yeah. Kavazovic under pressure as Wounded Vipers host Express Football Club. I did give you some of our fixtures today. Chitara will be playing a NEC Football Club. There is a 4 p.m. UPDF will be playing a Lugazi 4 p.m. Vipers will be taking on Express 7 p.m. We shall come back to look at